Saffron and Peri. Humorous urban fantasy. History of fantasy. Saffron and Peri is the first step in an evolutionary process to make audio drama fantasies a reality. What does this mean? Well, modern fantasy has its roots in fairy tales and post-Victorian era children's fiction. Put another way, before the Victorian era, when the term genre was first invented and thought of, the chances of reading about dragons and other fantastical creatures or elements in a story were limited to ones told before the Common Era. The Iliad, Odyssey, and Gilgamesh, from ancient Greece and Mesopotamia, respectively, being three of the most well-known classics before the Common Era. But are they fantasy? Even in the Common Era, before the High Middle Ages, tales like Beowulf were considered simply fiction. There were no classifications of different genres. It was all fiction or non-fiction. Fantasy tropes and satire. Moving on to the actual story of Saffron and Peri, one of the more obvious elements, right from the start, is the narrative device found so often in today's audio drama environment. Audio recordings from a telephone call are the primary way the story is told. There is a mild annoyance at times, with the ringtone being the default one for iPhones. There were numerous times where I checked my phone to see if someone was calling me, and, like a catchy jingle, the impulse stayed with me throughout the entire season. Aside from that distracting quality of the show's execution, Saffron and Peri does what it sets out to do, and does it in a way that is charming and fun. The audio quality is hit or miss, but one could argue the entire show is taking place on a phone, and quality depends on your location. In other words, it could be part of the story. Playing devil's advocate. Saffron and Peri lure you in with familiar tropes, only to poke fun at the fantasy genre in a clever way. One of the primary settings is a magical support center for a college where, you guessed it, magic is taught. After the amusing twist on classic fairy tales, the story takes a more traditional comedic role and becomes almost sitcom-y in a way. As the series progresses, that meta humor is replaced with funnier jokes, but don't quite last as long as the earlier ones in terms of memorability. Without a doubt, it's personal preference, but for those people looking for a smart audio drama fantasy, with or without humor, Saffron and Peri comes close, but doesn't quite stick the landing. 4 out of 5 stars. Next time on Audio Drama Reviews.
Oral Traditions presents The Tragedy of Gaius Gracchus. This production contains tragic death. Listener discretion is advised.
In the early days of the Roman Republic, long before the Empire or the Caesars who ruled it, there were two classes at war: the poor plebeians who voted on who would rule them, and the wealthy patricians who ruled.
Welcome to the podcast about audio drama and our 8-year journey into the reviewing of the art form. You can find several different shows on the Audio Drama Reviews media network, like our What We Listen To newsletter, our exclusive archived audio reviews feed for Patreon supporters, where old reviews become new and in stereo too, and of course, audio and text reviews of your favorite audio dramas. Visit audiodramareviews.com.